biggest question came in was Puka Nacua. How to limit Puka Nacua and what he is good at. And you also mentioned the fact that Matthew Stafford, when he's under center, hands the ball off more times than when he is in shotgun. And that's a real stat. Matter of fact, when I looked at this game and I kind of went through some of the nuances of what happened last season and what, with the Rams, the playoff game, and what's probably going to happen this year, here's what I wrote. Number one, Nacua is firmly entrenched as a 1A, 1B option in this Rams passing attack. Some may attribute Nacua's early season success in 2023 to Cooper Kupp's absence to injury. However, Nacua continued to produce at a high level even when Cooper Kupp was back in the lineup. Now, while Nacua set the bar high in his rookie season, his ability to excel was mainly against zone coverage, generating a lot of yak yards. Well, guess what, Lions fans? The Lions are going to a more man-press scheme in 2024, and we will see this particularly slow down Nacua in week 1. With the vast amount of tape study done this offseason by all teams in the NFL and the Lions bringing in 4 new corners that all excel at man press, it is undeniable, in my opinion, that the Detroit Lions defense is planning to play Nacua and Cooper Kupp both very physical. I feel this is answered when you look at the statistical output for the Rams of 2023. The Rams use 11 personnel more often than any other NFL offense. This personnel group consists of 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 receivers. And the Rams used 11 personnel 93.1% of the time last season and 90.3% of the time in 2022. What was crazy to me, though, is that the Rams are not very deceptive at hiding what they are doing with the ball. When Stafford is in shotgun, he is passing the ball over 90% of the time. That makes it easy to have better success when calling the defense to sell out against the pass when he's in shotgun. You'll have a much lower margin of error or blown coverage opportunity if you're calling a pass defensive scheme when he steps back to shotgun. Now, 11 personnel is a very common offensive package that balances the passing and the running game. It also allows the Rams to gather intelligence and force other teams to play their nickel defenses in ways they are not designed to. So how do they stop Nacua and Cooper Kupp and now Williams? Well, Kyron Williams, that is. I said that they would probably run with a cover 1 nickel with man press and cover 1 with man press in the 4-3. And the reason why I said that is because out of the 4-3 base hybrid system that the Lions run, you can literally disguise a 5th DB as a linebacker. You could run with 5 DBs the entire game. And you could have 1 up in the box. You could drop 1 back. You could shade 1. You could over 1. You could under. There's a lot of different things that you could do. You can blitz 1. But the most important thing that I said is they need to have somebody watching Stafford and Williams at all times. So maybe that means that you relax a little bit on blitzing all the time. And this is where I said last night and again today that they need to play disciplined football. The sacks are going to come. And they're going to come because of the interior pressure. And they're going to come because if they're not able to run the ball and they've got to pass the ball, that's where you're going to sit back in nickel and you play man press. You're jamming these receivers. You're getting them off their timing routes with Matthew Stafford. And that's when the door opens. And when the door opens, Hutchinson, Davenport, someone's going to go in and close it. I expect to see a lot more single high safety looks in this matchup very early. The disguise here is that the Lions can run essentially the same defense in the 4-3 that they do in the nickel, and with the same personnel groupings that all kind of look the same. They all kind of blend. This will allow the defense to jam the receivers at the line, bumping them off the route in their timing with Stafford, utilizing a stronger interior defensive line to create pressure up the middle that forces Stafford to move around in the pocket. We know he doesn't want to run. Stafford does not want to run. He's too old. His legs are not the same. He's not the same, quarterback that he was 10 years ago. But he still can. He still can run. He's quick enough. He can gash you for a first down. But this will allow the edge containment to sit back, watch, and then close. Shut this thing down. Of course, this doesn't mean that running the defense will 100% shut down the Rams all game long. I'm not expecting that. But it will give them better odds. And that's what football is all about. It's the odds game, right? How much percent or margin of error do you allow within the schemes that you're calling for the other team to have success versus how much your team is having success? That's what it all is. They are rolling the dice on every single play. I'm going to put these guys against, these guys. I'm going to run this scheme against your scheme. And when, you're signaling this guy to motion, I'm doing this. And at the end of the day, you just have to stay disguised enough to not allow Matthew Stafford to figure out what you're doing, which I'll be honest, and you guys know this, you saw Matthew Stafford do it for years. He is one of the best at diagnosing a defense pre-snap. So how is Aaron Glenn going to disguise it enough to not allow Matthew Stafford to do that? Well, it's almost impossible. So that's where you have to have guys that are better on your squad that are better on their squad, and you have to play very smart, very disciplined football against a high-octane offense that the Rams are going to try to run on Sunday. Pressure strategies, this hasn't changed. The Lions are going to run some very well-timed blitzes. I just think this year you're going to see more from our linebackers and more from our DBs than you are from our ends or our pass rushers, right? I think that you're going to see more coming from Jack Campbell. I think you're going to see more coming from Brian Branch out of the safety look. In a nickel defense, if you slide one safety over, right, you're playing single high, you drop Branch down into the box. Now you've protected the run game. And if they decide not to run the ball, Branch is going to fly. And that's where Stafford's going to run into trouble. So that was my quick notes on how I believe the Lions defense is going to have some success. The matchups that I want you guys to pay attention to this weekend, Quentin Lake on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quentin Lake is now going to have to man Amon-Ra St. Brown more often than he's going to want to. And if for some reason he's not the one, well, then you have Tre'Davious White that is also going to have to pick up the slack here. With Darius Williams out, this is going to be a very unique situation. Neither one of those guys are going to be able to hold J-Mo. Neither of them. And that's where I think, Eric, you're banking on J-Mo to have a really good game because their DB room is not anywhere close to what ours is. And they don't have the speed. Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield against Troy Reeder, their linebacker. I think that's another key matchup to take a look at. We don't know what's going on with Rob Havenstein. Obviously, we haven't seen the injury report yet today, or Warren McClendon, who's going to be starting there. How is Aiden Hutchinson going to take advantage of this situation of the Rams offensive line? I think the answer is yes. Yes, he will. He's going to take advantage of it. But I also believe that Marcus Davenport and Ali McNeil are going to have their moment this weekend. Jared Verse, man. This guy is an absolute wrecking ball. He is going to be one of the best defensive ends in this league, pass rushers, outside linebackers, whatever you want to call him. He will be eventually, just not in week one and not against Penei Sewell. Puka Nacua and Terrion Arnold, this is the matchup I think all of us are looking forward to. Is Terrion Arnold going to be physical enough against a physical receiver? I can't wait to see it. But then again, we just learned that Terrion Arnold's going to be traveling, and so is Carlton Davis. We're going to see both of these guys moving around in the defense, which is something that I called for early in the offseason. I was hoping that we were going to see this. Now, we haven't seen it yet. The game's not here. I'm just reading the tea leaves here. This is something that we could take a look at the Monday after or the Tuesday after when we do the game review, how much Terrion Arnold was moving around. Cooper Kupp, I'm Brian Branch. This was a matchup, from last year. I think Brian's going to be just fine moving back to safety, but we're also going to see him up in the nickel quite a bit this weekend, according to reports. So there's your keys, your stats, and your matchups.